25 years of history at the ATL will come to an end today with the reconfiguration of the track that is set to be completed for the 2022 season. But that's next year. Today, the NASCAR Cup Series will really experience the feel of Hotlanta as the countdown for the playoffs heats up with the running of the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart from the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. And since this race will be taking place in the middle of July, it's going to be hot in Atlanta. Temperature in the mid 80s, 45% chance of rain, wind southwest 8 mile an hour with a high humidity of 74%. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the episode of MDK Race Day. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day. We're going to get you set and ready for everything you need to know for today's Quaker State 400 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Obviously, you have the news regarding Atlanta and the reconfiguration. There's more stuff that went down, but we're going to discuss that in maybe in a later episode next week. But for now, we're just going to talk about the race. But before we get into that, we have some storylines we need to talk about. Let's first talk about the ratings that took place last weekend at Road America during the July 4th weekend. NBC scored a 1.79 rating and 3 million viewers that tuned into Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series race from Road America. Last year's 4th of July race at the Brickyard 400, that got a 2.7 rating and 4.3 million viewers. Now, to be fair, last year's race in 4th of July was at the height of the pandemic, and that's when everyone was stuck indoors and literally couldn't do anything. So as a result of that, many people just watched what was on to keep them entertained. So it's not surprised to see the ratings go down like they did this year, because this year we saw fans at the track, over 100,000 people if I'm not mistaken, and of course all across the country. Since we're now able to go outside, many people took the opportunity to go out from their homes, get away from the TV, hang out with their family and friends, barbecue, do whatever fun stuff outside. So again, not surprised to see the ratings go down the way it was, but it was still, I thought, a really good weekend. Like I said, over 100,000 fans were at the facility, and I think it was a overall successful event. Next up will be the USA Network, which will broadcast NASCAR races next season to replace the closing NBC Sports Network. They announced over the week, or the past week, that they have greenlit a new NASCAR Docu-Series that's going to be covering this year's playoffs for the championship in the NASCAR Cup Series that is set to debut in 2022, and it is called Race for the Championship. The backdrop and high stakes of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs and championship, Race for the Championship will take viewers inside the lives of NASCAR's top drivers and teams on and off the track. Across 8 thrilling episodes, the all-access series will chronicle the sport's best as they balance their personal lives with the passion, pressure, and perils of racing, all for a chance to make history. So this is basically Formula One Drive to Survive, but for NASCAR and involving the playoffs. This is genius, finally. Now, on one side, people are wondering, well, why on the USA Network? Why not on Netflix? Well, I think it's a good idea maybe for the USA Network just to get an idea, or at least to have a preview of NASCAR on the USA Network, since in 2022, NBCSN is shutting down. And NBC will probably broadcast races on the main NBC network and the USA Network. So to at least get a feel for NASCAR on the channel, they decided to have the Race for the Championship on the USA Network, which I think is a good idea. And speaking of NBC, their streaming service Peacock in August will have a brand new documentary called Chase, of course starring Chase Elliott, hosted by Dale Earnhardt Jr., which will follow Elliott around Dawsonville, Georgia, for a personal walk through his rise in NASCAR and all the people who helped him along the way. And speaking of Chase Elliott, he will compete in the season finale of the inaugural SRX season, 2 weeks' time in Nashville Fairgrounds, and will compete alongside with his father, Bill Elliott, which will be the second time the two will compete on the same track. I think the first time was all the way back in 2013, and I think it was in a late model event, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's really cool to see Chase Elliott, and more stars from NASCAR come out, support the SRX. There was a race at Slinger Speedway last night. Apparently, it went really, really well. I wasn't able to see it. I was out hang out with a friend of mine with the UFC event, UFC 264. Pretty sure a lot of you know what happened that night. But yeah, I wasn't able to see the SRX race, but I heard it was the best race so far that season. So SRS has got a lot of momentum on their side, and now for their season finale next weekend, they're going to have NASCAR's most popular driver alongside with the other most popular driver in NASCAR, at least in the past. Alright, but now let's talk about the playoff grid. We have 6 races to go until the playoffs begin. Everything remains the same except for Chase Elliott, who now has 2 wins under his belt in 2021, now has 11 playoff points, jumps up to 5th in the playoff standings. Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick still very safe, 12th and 13th. Austin Dillon, 14th, 98 points above. Tyler Reddick, 15th, 75 points above. The only driver that has a shot of losing his playoff spot at the end of this race is Kurt Busch. He is just 25 points ahead of Chris Buescher. And then Ross Chastain, minus 69, Stenhouse Jr., minus 70, and Matt DiBenedetto rounds out the top 20, minus 74. And speaking of Denny Hamlin, currently Hamlin is still first on the overall season standings, but he's only 3 points ahead of Kyle Larson. That is very important because at the end of the regular season, the person with the most points will, I believe, earn 15 playoff points to their name, which is very important if you want to make your way into the championship 4 at Phoenix. Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's Quaker State 400. With his win at Road America, Chase Elliott will start on the front row alongside Kyle Busch, who won yesterday his 102nd and potentially his final Xfinity race at Atlanta. He is a 2-time winner, won back in 2008 and in 2013. He starts alongside. Row 2 has Denny Hamlin, the 2012 Atlanta Fall winner. He starts alongside his teammate Christopher Bell, who has the best finish of 18th last year. Row 3 has a pair of drivers with their best finish being second. Martin Truex Jr. finished second here back in 2019, and Kyle Larson has the best Atlanta finish of second in 2 different races. Row 4 has 2 Chevrolets, Tyler Reddick on the inside lane, who has the best finish of 16th last year, and Kurt Busch, a 3-time Atlanta winner, starts in the 8th position. Rounding out the top 10 is Ross Chastain, who is starting to build some momentum these last few races. He will start alongside the 2018 Cup Series champion, Joe Logano. Row 6 is filled by the Blue Ovals. Chase Briscoe, who has a best finish of 9th here in the Xfinity Series at Atlanta. The rookie starts alongside Matt DiBenedetto, who has a best finish of 11th earlier this year. Row 7, driver the number 3 Chevrolet is Austin Dillon. Will start alongside 2-time Atlanta winner Brad Keselowski in the 2-4. Row 8 has the defending race winner in Ryan Blaney, repping some new colors with Advanced Auto Parts. The number 12 driver will start alongside Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who has a best finish of 10th back in 2016. 3-time Cup winner this season, Alex Bowman, the 48 car, starts 17th. He starts alongside the number 17 Ford of Chris Buescher. He has the best finish of 7th here again this year, back in the spring. And rounding out the top 20 is William Byron, best finish of 8th earlier this year. And Eric Almirola trying to build some more momentum on what has been an abysmal season. He starts 20th in the number 10 car. 3-time Atlanta winner Kevin Harvick starts alongside Eric Jones, who finished 7th here back in 2019. Row 12 has drivers that are trying to turn around what has been a very difficult season. Cole Custer in the 41 car starts alongside Bubba Wallace in the 23 car. Row 13 has the Daytona 500 champion Michael McDowell starts alongside Corey LaJoie in the 7 Chevrolet. And here look at the final 6 rows. Row 14, Daniel Suarez and Justin Haley has finished in the top 5 in 2 different races. Starts alongside Josh Bilicki. Row 16 has Cody Ware and rookie Anthony Alfredo. Row 17 has Bailey Curry and Ryan Preece. Row 18, Quinn Houff and BJ McLeod. And rounding out the field is the 53 Chevrolet of Garrett Smithley. Now let's take a look at the odds to win at Atlanta, presented by DraftKings. Top of the board, since it's a mile and a half, Kyle Larson, no surprise to see him there, plus 225. But it is a surprise kind of to see Ryan Blaney just with the 7th highest odds at 1200. There you see him in the 12 car. Kyle Busch, second best, plus 750. Chase Elliott, last week's winner, plus 900. Denny Hamlin, so far the points leader, plus 1,000, alongside with 3-time winner Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. William Byron with a plus 1,200. Brad Keselowski plus 1,400, and Alex Bowman rounding out the top 10 plus 1,600, alongside with Joe Logano. Kurt Busch, the 3-time Atlanta winner, plus 3,000. Christopher Bell plus 3,500, and then you see Austin Dillon plus 5,000. His teammate Reddick plus 6,600. Ross Chastain plus 8,000. And then Eric Almirola, Chris Buescher, Matt DiBenedetto, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Those 4 all with 10,000. All right, so what are our expectations for this race? Well, I think simply put, it is going to be difficult for this to be the last race at Atlanta. Even with this package and how bad it is, we still get to see drivers slip and slide around just a little bit. And for that to go away is going to be bittersweet. But let's talk about the actual racing and what we can see. Well, first off, let's talk about Kyle Larson. Now, anytime you have Kyle Larson in a race, you're going to have to consider him a favorite to win it. You have to understand, back in the spring, he led 269 of the 325 laps. He finished second, losing it late in the race to Ryan Blaney, but still, he had the best car, or at least one of the best cars in that field. And on top of that, he has excelled greatly on the mile-and-a-half programs this season, including a win in the Coke 600. As well as a win at Las Vegas, another mile-and-a-half track. So it shouldn't be surprising to see Kyle Larson up front. But what about the other contenders? What about, let's say, Ryan Blaney, the defending winner of that race? What about his shots at winning here today, or at least running well? Well, unfortunately, Ryan Blaney just hasn't had a very consistent season. Now, yes, Blaney is a defending winner, but we have to understand that since his win at Las Vegas, he has only finished inside the top 5 one time, and that was a couple weeks ago at the first Pocono doubleheader. And of all the mile-and-a-half tracks we have run so far this season, only 2 different times has he finished inside the top 10. His win at Atlanta and a 5th place finish at Las Vegas. On the other mile-and-a-half tracks, like at Homestead, he finished 29th. Kansas, he finished 21st. And Charlotte in the Coke 600, he finished 13th. If you want to include Nashville, which is it's not a mile-and-a-half track, but it is an oval. He did have, I think he cut down a tire and finished 37th. But so far this season has not gone the way Blaney wanted to go. Outside of his win at Atlanta, he has been very inconsistent. He did get that 2 finishes inside the top 10 during the Pocono race, but those are specialty tracks. You know, we're talking about tracks that you're going to see NASCAR run a lot on. The mile-and-a-half and the 1 mile tracks, your Homestead, your Las Vegas, even a track like Phoenix. You know, these intermediate tracks that you're going to have to run often as you make your way into the playoffs. Blaney just hasn't excelled at. So though he is the defending winner, I just don't see Blaney being the type of guy to contend for the win and go back-to-back. Now, what about Kyle Busch? Now, Kyle Busch, he does have momentum. He won the Xfinity race last night, and on top of that, he is a former winner, won here 2 different times. And even though it was a slow start to the season, he has been putting up some pretty good numbers. He did finish in the top 5 back in the spring, but look at his last few races. 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 5th, 3rd, and 10th. Those are his last 5 or 6 races in the season. Consistent up front, leading laps, almost be contention for the win every single week. When you're running so close to the front week by week, eventually you're going to break through the victory lane. I'm not saying Kyle Busch is going to win today, but I am saying he can be one of those drivers that can keep up with Larson or at least be in contention. He starts 2nd place here today. I think he's got a good shot at putting up an effort at winning the race. I don't think he's going to win, but I do think he's going to be one of the drivers to beat. But now let's go into our race picks. I have someone that I think is going to struggle, someone that I think is going to surprise a lot of people, and of course, my driver that is going to succeed and or my pick to win. So the person I think is going to struggle is Brad Keselowski. Now, Brad Keselowski, he's just been, again, kind of like his teammate Ryan Blaney, been very inconsistent. Since his win at Talladega, he has only finished inside the top 5 2 different times. A 3rd at Kansas the week after, and a 3rd in the 2nd Pocono race 2 weeks ago. But so far, of all the mile-and-a-half tracks we've been to this season, he has had only 2 finishes inside the top 10. A 2nd at Las Vegas back at race 4, and a 3rd at Kansas the week after he won at Talladega. Outside of that, his 3rd best finish was an 11th in the Coke 600. But other than that, he has been either 15th or outside the top 15, even outside the top 20, like right here at Atlanta when he finished 28th. So I don't know. I feel like Penske as a whole has just been not consistent. We haven't seen them be up front, be competitive, challenge with the guys like Elliott, like Larson, like Kyle Busch. So because of that, I have him as a driver I think is going to struggle. I haven't seen anything, not only from Keselowski, but I haven't seen anything from the Penske camp in general that makes me believe that, okay, they're starting to, switch on at the right time as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. I think they're going to struggle, but But since it's Keselowski, I'm focusing more on Brad Keselowski because he is a former winner here at Atlanta. He won here twice in 2 different formats. But I would expect Keselowski to run well at these types of tracks. Yes, Blaney is the defending winner, and he does have a better average finish than Keselowski, which is why I think Blaney, although again, I don't think Blaney is going to contend, I do think he's probably going to be around the top 10 or so. But for a person like Keselowski, just on how his season has gone by in recent weeks, I don't even see him anywhere near the top 10. I see him maybe 15th place or around that area, which is why I have him struggling this week. I just don't think he's going to be the type of guy to contend. I don't think he's going to be in the top 10. I just think he's going to struggle to stay on the lead lap and just ride around to the finish. A driver that I think is going to surprise a lot is Kevin Harvick. Now, why Kevin Harvick? He is a 2-time winner or 3-time winner at Atlanta. Why would you say he would be the surprise pick? Well, think about it. His season has not gone at all the way any of us expected, especially when you consider how dominating he was last season, winning a career-high 9 races. But I do think this Ford team is starting to build some momentum on their side. They have finished inside the top 10 in 3 of the last 4 races, including a 5th place finish at Nashville. On top of that, of the 4.5-mile races they've ran this season, Harvick has finished inside the top 10 in all 4 races, including 2 of them inside the top 5. A 5th at Homestead, a 2nd at Kansas, and then a 10th place finish at Atlanta and Charlotte. Especially with Atlanta, because Atlanta, Harvick and that team struggled greatly. I mean, they were horrible, and they still managed to get a top 10 out of that whole deal. Now this team has got some momentum on their side. They're starting to show some speed. They're starting to run up the front more consistently. I think now Kevin Harvick, for the 2nd time at Atlanta, unlike the 1st time, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people, and I think they're going to be competitive. Don't think they're going to win or have a shot at winning, but I do have a feeling that they're going to be inside the top 5. They're going to run up front. They're going to lead laps and be very competitive and consistent, at least around the top 5 area. And the person that I have that I think is going to succeed, many of you might think, oh, you're going to pick Kyle Larson. No, in fact, I'm not going to pick Kyle Larson. I'm going to pick his teammate, not Chase Elliott, William Byron. Not only do I think William Byron will succeed in beating Kyle Larson, I think he will win his 2nd Cup Series race of 2021 and win at Atlanta for the first time in his Cup career. The reason why is because I've said this for weeks now. If there's anyone at HMS that can challenge Kyle Larson, it's William Byron. We've seen this time after time again. Whenever Larson's down, or even if Larson is vulnerable, who's there to pick up the pieces? Or who is there that's right behind him? It's William Byron. In the Coke 600, who was the driver that was able to keep up with Larson and even able to challenge him for the lead? It was William Byron. At Pocono, I think in the 2nd Pocono race, when Larson was down, who was there to pick up the pieces and keep going the HMS momentum? It was William Byron. Byron has been one of the most consistent drivers this season, and especially at a track like Atlanta that's very rough on the tires, old surface, requires you to use a lot of different racing lanes, kind of plays into Byron's wheelhouse, considering the fact that he won at Homestead, a track kind of similar to Atlanta, old, worn out, forces you to use different racing grooves throughout the race. Because of that, I think a lot of stuff is just adding up to potentially a Larson win. A Larson win could definitely happen, but if not, I've decided to take a gamble, and I'm going with William Byron. I think he is going to go out there and win the Quaker State 400 for the 2nd win of his career. But yeah, that's going to conclude this episode of MDK Race Day covering the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Don't forget, of course, to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Tell me, who do you think is going to win this race in the comment section down below. But until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thank y'all so much for watching. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Quaker State 400 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll see you next time.